Christine Swanberg. I am your official Rockford Poet Laureate. I've written hundreds and hundreds of poems in the 72 years I've been on this earth. And one of the things that gives me greatest comfort is nature, gardening in all of its forms. So I'm going to read a few poems that I hope capture the love that I feel for gardening and for the earth. One of the things I'd like you to know is that poetry can do many things at once, and if you try, you can do it subtly, but you can work towards a very full experience. So the poem I'm going to read today, which was nominated for a Pushcart Prize, is called Ask the Gardener. And it is actually a series of sonnets, which I hope are subtle. And I think the poem is also a lament as well as an exultation, because I'm brokenhearted about what has happened to the climate, and I see it up close and personal in my very own garden. And this is called Ask the Gardener. If you want to know how the earth changes, each year bringing one more scarring, scalding the soil surface, then rearranges the system beneath the soil, marring, ask the gardener on her knees. She will tell you how she's watched and witnessed day by day, year by year, the darkened spell of careless winds and tainted rains, the flood and parching bipolar seasons, distressed. She will tell you how sorrow's in her blood, watching all the life she considers blessed. Today, a lone monarch lands on milkweed, where once a dozen hatched and danced, then sailed, where once the creatures that she loved prevailed. If you want to know how the earth is tipping with each up-close and personal invasion, ask the gardener with her bucket dipping, filled with black beetles not in the equation that balances the garden. Creatures devouring the native plants provided for safekeeping of the bees, butterflies, and birds, scouring each buckthorn, rose, and milkweed, feeding frenzies insatiable in black swarms. Ask the gardener when the bees disappear before her eyes, or when dry earth warms and turns from black to gray, a cracked mirror. Where once the gardener laughed with easy sighs, now the gardener stoops, too full of goodbyes. Goodbye, monarch, swallowtail, and bees. Hello, white grubs beneath the soil, tiny whales like the curled bodies of orca in seas seen one summer before the gusty gales of their great diminishing. Too much loss for a decade or century to bear. The gardener sees, feels, and knows the costs, and yet her green thumb does its healing, shared amongst the spider lilies and bergamots, where hummingbirds return from year to year to this, their sanctuary. Were it not for gardeners on their knees in greening prayer, only scientists would speak of Earth's demise. But to the gardener, it comes as no surprise. And in that poem, I mentioned monarchs, which I try to keep breeding in the milkweed in our yard. But that made me think about when I actually fell in love with monarchs, which was actually in 1975 on a trip to Door County to a little remote island called Rock Island. And in those days, the monarchs were so prolific, you actually couldn't see the sky through them. There were so many of them. And this is called When I Fell in Love with Monarchs, and it's been published in Door County. Sometimes while trying to save monarchs in my backyard sanctuary, I remember when I first fell in love with them. 1975, Door County, late summer, crossing Death's Door to Washington Island, then Rock Island with pup tent, sleeping bags, and a little food. Behold, goldenrod, milkweed and Milky Way of monarchs, thousands, maybe millions breathing. Calypso of wings beating, so that when the wind gentled, we could hear them pulsing, gliding, a shimmering bay of orange and black. We walked among them so softly, yet our presence caused an uproar, or maybe it was just a dance, landing on us, cavorting, spiraling, paper wings like confetti for miles it seemed, before my first Green Bay sunset with its golden Jacob's ladder, tremulous like the Monarch's heading in for the night. All of us under the vast Milky Way, no lights or cars to intrude, as we made our way back to the tiny yellow pup tent under a canopy of 1 billion stars, the settling of 1 million sashaying wings cocooned in our orange sleeping bags.